Hi, welcome to today's Speedpaint. So this video was actually something I have been planning on doing for a little while. I do this sort of thing with all of my characters at some point in time because, a couple years ago, I got really into homestuck, as some people do, and I classpected my groups, the Herald of Hamelilds. I classpected that our entire party, whatever party was at the time. I did classpect everyone. I don't think I drew everyone, but I did classpect everyone. And since then, I've also done mine and Thisto's Arya Mithraloids, or Utau, and Utau, that's the word, yeah. So I've done them since then, and I did a couple of my other campaign characters. I want to say I've done even my Final Fantasy characters. I've thought about it, and the only set I haven't done is my Simply Me characters. So that's what this video is. So first up, we have who's been on the screen here this whole time is one of my oldest OCs, actually. He was a self-insert for Kingdom Hearts originally, and I made him, I want to say around 2007, with the friend he's actually the character who was made for me by a friend who originally got me into Kingdom Hearts because he existed. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of it. Maybe I'll do another video where I actually talk about Halix's origin a little bit more, but he is my second oldest character. My oldest character was a Naruto not self-insert, a Naruto OC who has since been remade into a D&D character, and she is a super powerful ranger now. But Halix is the one we're talking about. So since 2007, Halix has gone through a lot of iterations. He's gone through a few Kingdom Hearts designs. He's gone through a lot of Kingdom Hearts designs. I also designed him into Disgaea at one point. I've put him into a lot of universes. He's probably my character that's easiest to move around universes, which I do like doing. I do like throwing characters around into universes. And he's really easy for me to do that. I don't know if it's because I've developed him as much as I have or what it is, but the point is he now has his own story, his own universe that I've been working on and developing and actually started writing the script for earlier this year. I'm starting chapter 3 now, and it's very exciting. So I guess I should probably talk about his classpect a little bit and get into the nitty-gritty of that. The nitty-gritty being, I'm going to read parts of the wiki for you guys and basically line out what that means for the characters, the 4 protagonists of Simply Me here. So Halix first is the Sylph of Blood, which, for those of you who don't know Homestuck or just didn't really get as much into the classpecting aspect or what have you, the Sylph class is a healer class. They heal through their aspect for others. They are a passive class. Most of them in the comic are female, but the exclusivity is unknown. I'm just throwing all that out the window because I don't care about gender roles for the classes for Homestuck. I just don't. I don't think most people do. But yeah, they're a healer class, which for reasons in the webcomic that works best for Halix. It especially works best for Halix with his aspect being blood, which is actually, rather than being the blood flowing through your veins, it actually means bonds. And Halix's big thing, a lot of what Simply Me is about is familial bonds and reconnecting with family, because it is about 2 brothers going on a road trip to reconnect with their dad they haven't seen in almost a decade. And it is that reconnection with family that is the focus of the comic, and Hallex actually helps more than just his own family. He helps a lot more people throughout the comic because he either is able to befriend them or help them reconnect with those that they need to reconnect to. He's surprisingly good at connecting with people, is what it comes down to. But yeah, that's him. That's my baby boy, and I love him very much. Next up is his older brother. He's older than Hallex by, I think, 10 or 11 years. So he's about 25, I believe, is how old I made him. He's a really relaxed boy. He can't, I say really relaxed, he doesn't allow himself to get too worked up. He is actually relatively immunocompromised and sick for stuff that makes sense in the context of the universe, but when I say it out loud without that context, it just sounds weird and like I'm making things up, because I am, because it's all magic based. But he's his biggest thing is that he's here to help his brother and to keep an eye on his brother. He basically is Hallex's acting guardian through most of the context of the comic and throughout the past almost decade for them. So he is just doing his ding dang best, and I hope that people like him in the comic because I love him very much, and he deserves the world, and I don't hurt him too bad, I promise. I don't think I have the power to hurt him too bad. I would feel bad. I did take a break here because I think I was eating at this point, so sorry about that. There's like a good 2 seconds of just nothing. So yeah, Josen's design, Josen was also, he was made to be Hallex's brother. I made him with the intention of him being Hallex's brother from the beginning, but I still made him when I was still using Hallex as a Kingdom Hearts OC. He had moved on past his self-insert phase by that point, and I wanted him to have an older brother, so Josen happened, and he has never changed. I want to say his design has stayed more or less the same, besides some color changes I've made here or there. His hair has stayed in the same style, except for the little bit of extra curliness I gave it in the front, and the exact way I draw the bangs. The back is my preferred style of short hair that I like to do, because it's based off of Bart's from Final Fantasy and off of Nils from Fire Emblem 7, because I drew him a lot, because he's my favorite Final Fantasy character, or not Final Fantasy, sorry, Fire Emblem character, if you can't tell by my own name. That is how I chose my name, was because of a Fire Emblem character. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other video. We can talk about that later. So Josen's aspect is Classpect is Seer of Heart, which basically, so the Seer of Heart, Seer is a passive class just like Sylph is, but a Seer is someone who uses their knowledge to coordinate with their teammates. They tend to understand their aspect pretty well, and they are able to keep their party from making really grave mistakes. The speculation of what it means is a seer is someone who understands through their aspect for others. So for Josen specifically, he's a heart player who, looking back on it, the parts of the heart aspect don't quite fit for Josen, but it kind of works. He doesn't have much beyond for his identity beyond the care for Hallex at the earlier parts in the story, because he spent 10 years playing his guardian and basically missing out on parts of his early teenage years, or not early teenage years, his later teenage years. But the heart aspect has to do with identity. It has to do with emotions and intuition and things like that. In the case of Josen, specifically what it means for him is that he's able to see and understand people's emotional responses and able to trust his intuition a little bit more than the rest of the group can. I wouldn't call him... He's more wary than Hallex is, and he's not as trusting of other people as Hallex is, because he is an adult. He understands that the world isn't always going to be kind. He knows all that, and a lot of that is stuff that'll be explained in the context of the webcomic too, as to why his thought process is like that. But I should move on to Ryu here, because I know his slot isn't very long. But Josen is able to basically gauge the emotional feedback they'll get for most of the decisions the party makes in the webcomic. And that makes it easier for him to keep Hallex out of serious trouble. Honey, stop licking me. I'm trying to do something. Stop it. My sister's dog, everyone. So, Ryu, who is on screen now being drawn. Ryu is a character I haven't really played with as much as Hallex or Josen, because he was a character that I made to balance out the team in a fourth party member kind of way. He originally wasn't that important, but in the past few weeks that I've been working on the comic, I've gotten to like him a lot more. I've gotten to know him a bit more, and that makes it easier for me to do things for him and develop him. This is his second design iteration. His original design looked a lot more like Josen. His hair was basically Josen's, just a little straighter. And, that's not how good character design works. And I also had to age him up a little bit for what I decided to do with him in the end. He was originally made to be a love interest for Hallex, and then I kind of clearly ditched that. There's no love interest. There's no love interests in Simply Me. There's people who are married and people there are people who are married, but that's about it. That is the maximum amount of relationship. So Ryu was interesting to find a class spec for, because like I said, I haven't developed him quite as much as Hallex or Josen, and he slips my mind sometimes, but that's kind of the thing he's supposed to do, and it goes with his class spec. So he is the Knight of Void. A knight it's unclear if a knight is passive or active. They are a warrior class, so they're the fighters, it's what it says on the tin. They are warriors. They're knights. Specifically, knights are those who serve through their aspect for the betterment of others. And they're just some fighty kids. They're fighty. Ryu specifically is a Knight of Void. The Void aspect, which is actually also my aspect, thank you for asking, if you don't know, by my Twitter header. They are secret keepers. Void is associated with nothingness, I can't talk anymore, the essence of lacking, obscuring of knowledge, which is why I forget him a lot, guys. It's a void. He's what he says on the tin. He's a Knight of Void, Knight of Nothing. Oh, that makes it sound sadder than it actually is. there's not much I can give you on him that isn't spoilery. His almost everything about him is pretty spoilery, and maybe that also works with his Classpects, though. You know what? It's all coming together. It's all coming together very nicely, and I'm actually really proud of that fact because I did not think about it until just now. Just now. So the next character that we have, that's going to take a second to get up on screen, is Hiyari. You can see me highlighting her name there and separating it from everyone else's. She is actually not my character. Hiyari is actually Thisto's character. I don't know how long they've had her, but they are letting me use her for this project. I don't quite recall the conversation we had. This was in high school when she was added to this lineup. I wasn't sure what the conversation we had was like for including her in this. Thisto was just like, here you go, and I was like, okay, and the rest is history, I guess. I can't tell you too much about Hiyari either. Just like Ryu, a lot of stuff about her is spoiler territory. She explains a lot of it in the context of the comic. The only thing I can tell you is that her husband is a book, and again, it's something she states outright when she joins the party in the comic. So you guys are just gonna have to read the comic when I start putting it out there. That's my incentive, to get you guys into my characters. You gotta do something, right? But she's a really fun character. She's really funny. She's a little bit scatterbrained, a little bit ditzy. But you know what? I love her. We stan. She's doing her best. I don't know. I would have to ask Thisto if that's actually true or not. I think it is. She's really sweet. I really love Hiyari. There's nothing about her I don't like. But again, I don't know how long Thisto has had her. She hasn't gone through many design changes. Her outfit has changed a few times. Her general overall look hasn't changed. In her actual canon look for Simply Me, she has these glowing markings on her skin that have changed. The design of those have changed. They've always been kind of swirly and kind of everywhere, but lately I've been trying to get them more or less so I can draw them on model every time. It's going to be fun having to draw that every page when she's introduced, but until then, I don't have to worry about it. There she is. I don't have to worry about it, so I'm not going to until I have to. Because there's no point in worrying about it until I have to. That is a problem for future me, who needs to work on the webcomic. But I love her. She's really sweet. I will always be thankful that Thisto is letting me use her for Simply Me, because she is a joy and a treasure. So her Classpect is Witch of Hope. She is... there was not a lot of thought. There was a little bit of thought. There wasn't too much thought, but there was a little bit of thought put into her aspect more than her class, because in the context of Simply Me, her species, she actually is a witch. She's a witch and an alchemist, which are species and job. In the context of Simply Me, and again, that's something that'll be covered in the webcomic, so go read that once I start releasing it, yay! But she's a witch, so that was kind of already spoken for. The witch class in the context of Homestuck is an active class. Much like the rest of the classes, the exact definition is unknown. Would you stop licking me, dog? I don't like getting dog licks on my legs. The general speculation is a witch is someone who manipulates their aspect. And they are, because they're an active class, they're more actively able to fully manipulate their aspect. They can do a wide array. They can do a wide array of things with their aspects. And for Hiyari, her aspect is hope, which in the context of Homestuck, it's hope. Hope embodies its literal meaning of hope and certain amount of holy powers. It's hope. It's power of belief. I don't know what you want from me. Hope is what it says on the tin. Some things just aren't that deep. Or maybe they are, and we're just not looking deep enough. Who knows? I don't know. I'm certainly not looking that deep. But she is a lot of Hiyari's character development is hope-based. A hope of turning her husband into not a book anymore, and of some other things that I can't specify here because they're spoilers. But she really is just a lovely girl, and I can't wait to hopefully get her characterization right. But because I am still friends with Thisto to this day, I will be having them beta read everything for her, so that I don't have to worry about whether I'm writing her correctly. I can just ask them. I'm doing the same thing in Arya Mythroloids for their side of the Utau. Haha. That's on collaborative storytelling, folks. I do recommend camoing your characters, your friends' characters, in your things, though. It's a lot of fun. A lot of the background characters and Simply Me are cameos of other characters. But yeah, that is it. You can see me finishing out the background and lining everyone up how I actually want them to here, or want them to be placed here. Later, I do actually change the background because I wasn't happy with it, and it just wasn't all that interesting. It wasn't popping, so I did change the background a little bit. Mostly, it was adding the Classpect signs. I need to make brushes for the signs, but or for the aspect signs. I need to make brushes for those. Adding my signature in, and basically just going over fine details. And here it is. There you go. You can see all those little Classpect signs that I copy and pasted a million times and moved around like little wallpapers. I'm actually really proud of how that happened. I don't know what else to say. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll catch me in the next video, hopefully in about 2 weeks. So that's it. Yep. Bye.